And good morning, Unity. Thank you for joining us once again for our Spiritually Speaking, our morning show.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. I am Wanda, Nero, Butler, and this is
Reverend Christie, Hardwick.
and this,
Rebekah Joy.
and we are here in celebration. Temple's still here. She in the building.
Come on.
But we are celebrating Black History Month. This is the last Sunday in Black History Month. So today we have prepared a wonderful celebration for you. The three of us are bringing some things to light concerning Black history, and we're just going to have a bunch of fun.
Yes.
We got a classroom with Reverend Christie, and then we got a church scene. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But we're going to talk to you, share some things about Black history. And Reverend Christie was telling me just a moment ago that there are a lot of fun things going on in St. Pete, and a lot of historical things about Black history going on in St. Pete.
Yeah, some of them were lighter than others, but I just want to say first, I'm just happy to have, I got all my sisters with me. Okay. So here we are, and I'm newer to St. Petersburg than other people are, and so I was just paying attention. What's going to happen in Black History Month in St. Petersburg, Florida, in the South, right? And the first thing that happened on the very first day of the month was they raised the Carter G. Woodson African American Museum flag at Town Hall.
Wow.
Okay.
So I went to this event to see what is this about. Mayors, Congress people, assembly people, local council people, all there in honor of the raising of the flag.
Wow.
And it's been going on, I learned, for a few years. But what's important about that is, I think, the symbolism, but also that the conversations that had to happen to get that to happen.
Okay.
So that was really empowering. The second thing that I attended was the unveiling of the lynching marker, sadly, at Martin Luther King Boulevard and 2nd Avenue South, on the spot where a person was lynched, where a mob of 1,500 people watched that lynching. And it was brought forward in order for us not to forget that those things happened here, and that there was never any justice about it, and there was never any history about it. One of the things that's most important about that ceremony, again, people were there, the unveiling happened, it was very amazing in terms of the speakers, but one of the speakers was the grandson of someone who knew the man who was lynched, knew his family, knew what kind of a character he was, and who he was in the community. And the emotion he had about the honoring of this family finally, because this was in 1916 or 17, I can't remember the time frame. It could have been, maybe it's in the 20s, but anyway, it's nearly 100 years.
Wasn't yesterday.
Yes, so some generations have passed, but the generation's story has stayed in place.
That's great.
Yeah, and then the third thing that happened was that the main library in St. Petersburg was unveiled yesterday to be named the President Barack Obama Main Library.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was that balance, right? So there were some symbolic things, some very difficult things, but the history was brought forward. And there was, a lot of celebration about it, but I shared something on a place that wasn't my Facebook post, which everybody agrees with you and says, yay, and right? I shared it on a thing that was sort of a neighborhood thing.
Okay.
And the responses were very interesting.
Really?
Yeah. So there's that. So there we have progress, and then we have conversations that still need to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Conversations that need to happen. We need to talk to each other, and then others need to talk to each other, and then we need to come together and talk.
Talk to each other.
Because amazingly, I was listening to something last night. It was a preachers get together and talk about it, and they were saying we need to get in a room without cameras and talk about the real issues of our communities and our peoples, and the preachers versus the money grabbers versus the preachers who are teaching our people how to become better people instead of bring your offering. If you bring me your offering, then you'll get this, you know, that kind of gamery. But the thing was, come together and talk about it. And one preacher said something very interesting that I had been saying, but you know, I ain't nobody. So. But he said all the marching, all the sit-ins. I said this about the Black Lives Matter movement and the I Can't Breathe. And I'm like, these children are brave. They're going out there, they're marching,
right.
They are sitting in, they are laying out. It's not going to do a doggone thing. It didn't back then, and it hasn't now, because we are still waiting for justice. It hasn't happened. The only thing that made a difference was when we boycotted the buses and they saw that coin.
Yes.
They saw the power of the coin. The power of the coin. Pull that back. Then eyebrows start to raise. Wait, where's that money going? What happened? That's when things started to change, or we were taken seriously because we started messing with the commerce. The other thing was, well, you'll see that later on in the service. You gotta tune in. We got some good stuff for you today.
Really good stuff.
Rebekah?
Really good stuff today. As you were saying, Miss Wanda, you know, there's so many things conversations that need to be had. And a lot of the coalitions, the nonprofit organizations that were established back in the 60s, they still remain today, generations later. However, their mission and vision are still up against. You know, so
opposition.
Yeah, opposition. That's a good word. Yeah, that's the word. That's it. So it's important, you know, for the generations now and in the future, you know, to not just be in the movement because they're in the movement, you know, but to understand the depth.
Yes.
And, you know, the deep pockets that.
The complexity.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched something that was called The State of Black America. It was sort of like following the idea of the State of the Union that the president was going to give, but wanting to say, we're going to speak to you from our lens and our perspective. And it was mostly young people, and it was a coalition of young people that were Black and, you know, sometimes gay or transgender, and, you know, just recognizing the spectrum of what our community looks like. People who were religious and non-religious, right? So it was a full spectrum. And they spoke, but what was powerful, to your point, Wanda, was they were talking about, we have been relied on, but not delivered for as a people.
Come on now.
Yes.
And they were really clear about that. That was a theme throughout. They said, we recognize we've been relied on, but not delivered for.
Yeah.
So when it comes to how we spend our money, but also how we spend our vote. The young generation is rethinking that, that kind of like commitment to one specific party, more than saying, we need to say that we're no longer going to be relied upon and not delivered for. Right. So the check is due, right? We got the receipts, you know, so it was very clear, to your point, not just about, they were going to continue to raise their voices and continue to protest, but their point was that we have to be systemic and very strategic in saying that we're going to have to impact people where they care, which sadly in this country is primarily in the economy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I believe it was you who said, I heard say, did you see that run? Because that thought just ran right out of my head.
Catch it, come back.
Catch it, come back.
If it was good, I said it. I did.
Yes, that's right. It was good you said that. But we have to, my husband said to me just yesterday, he mentioned Martin Luther King to a young person, and they were like, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? We must do as the Hebrew, the Jewish nation, some of they passed the stories down. The
Yes.
Bible says, pass the stories down. Let us not lose our history. What do you mean, who was Martin Luther King? Who was Malcolm X? Who was Huey P. Newton? Who was Angela Davis? Who was Maya Angelou?
Yes.
Who was Andrew Jackson? Who was Coretta Scott King? Who? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Who was Vivian? What?
Yes.
Who was John
Who
Lewis?
was John Lewis?
Exactly.
Yes.
I did not know that John Lewis was literally the second face of the civil rights movement until I was well grown and moved to Georgia where he lived.
Right.
Yes.
I did a play called Selma, and the people in the play was like, what about John Lewis? And I was like, who is John Lewis?
And then you learn that, and you say, who is John Lewis in terms of bringing together poor people,
Yes.
black people, queer people? He understood that the leading edge of civil rights was about to stay in it at all, and he did until his last breath.
Yes.
He was in it, so it wasn't even like he's history.
No.
No.
He was
Current.
Yes.
Right.
Current, and I didn't. I mean, I was blessed to meet him. And we had a little snap, a little selfie situation going on. But sweet man. And I did not know because I was schooled in California. That's
Right.
where my major up to high school, college, was in California. He didn't make it that far. His story did not make it. I moved to Detroit. Then I picked up Jesse Jackson and Andrew Jackson because it was always Martin Luther King and Abernathy. That's all we got. We have to teach our children and our grandchildren our history because, as we know, it can disappear and not make the history books in the schoolhouse.
That's right.
Yes.
We still telling this same lie about Columbus in this.
There's work to do, and we begin with
Yes.
us and the stories that we're
Don't choke
telling.
on that one. Yeah.
We're going to tell some stories this afternoon, so join us really shortly, right?
Yes. We're gonna have fun, and it's gonna be light, and it's gonna be spiritual, and we're just going to have a good time. Not everything about black history is sad.
Right.
We've come
definitely
through
not.
hard times, but we are the culture of
Yes.
the United States of America. We are the culture of the planet. You can't go in any country and find a young person who is not rapping, got their hat turned around, sagging, or something. Something that has come from our culture, and I just said those because those are the most popular. Of course, we have engineers, we have scientists. Yeah, right, all of that. What's
Silent
up,
profiling.
Swag, all of that is come. Those are contributions to our culture that we have. Jazz,
Yes.
blues, tap, but you name it.
You're going to find some relationship to us.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you dig, it came off that ship.
Yeah, for generations, as far back as anyone can remember, it was always the people of color that totally monopolized the entertainment industry. It was us that they learned from in order to put their talent forward.
You would really, really be surprised at the genres or the arts that I can't say African American because it's much broader.
Right.
It's Spain, it's Portugal. The Moors started colleges in Spain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who knew to tell that?
Right.
Right.
Because we think our history starts.
Exactly.
On
We're going to
Plymouth
definitely
Rock.
talk
Right.
about that. And then the thing I learned that was most deeply meaning to me was when someone reminded me that all of this culture that we have influenced came from people who were stripped of everything and arrived naked.
Yes.
That's
Without
right.
anything written, without a piece of clothing, without an instrument, but yet they brought it.
Yes, and even to the extent where the masks, the steel masks, were put on their faces so that they were totally silenced.
Wow.
Yes. And so we
We've been through a lot.
Because the beauty is just too great.
Yes.
We can, but
And
now
the heart.
world needs to handle it.
And the heart of the people.
Yes.
You know, such big, warm, giving hearts, you know, so that there's nothing that can stop the determination and the perseverance.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
nothing that can stop it.
We will keep on
Yes.
and keep on persevering and teach our children. Teach your children.
Yes.
And not just black people or African Americans teaching their children. Everyone
Yes.
should understand that struggle so that we don't do that again.
That's right.
Teach children do what they're taught or what they see. Teach love. Teach
Yes.
unity. Teach oneness.
Yes.
You'll be better for it. The world
right.
will be better for
For
it.
this. That's right.
It's the little
Brian,
children.
how much more time we got? We wrapping it up. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
The little children don't see
right.
color.
That's right.
Right.
I believe
Children are the future.
Yes. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be.
Love you guys.
Love y'all. See you soon.